we were talking about, just how, like, you ever come across maybe a young lady who says, like, she doesn't like the good guys. She's more into like the bad guys in a sense. That's a legit thing. And I want to talk about that today. That concept, this idea that you can know something's bad for you and still pursue it. You can know better and your body still crave the worst. I think this is a very, very critical topic, and I want to really take my time, but I really want to just dive into just a little different perspective this time that kind of explains how can you know better and not do better. Let's talk about romantic relationships. When someone knows better or wants better, but yet still craves the wrong thing. Or maybe in a situation where they just genuinely feel like, I do not like the good guys. I do not like the good girls. I love maybe toxic. I love dysfunctional. I love, this narrative of toxicity. Let's just say that, or a dysfunctional relationship. I want you guys to understand that when you've been raised, right, in an environment where there was a lot of emotional neglect, there was a lot of rejection, a lot of abandonment, or just for the simple fact that you didn't get what you need growing up emotionally, mentally. And when it comes to love, essentially that's what we're missing. All of us need love, and when we don't get love, essentially a void is created. A void just simply means there's something that is devoid of something. That means there's something missing. There's something that needs to be put in. There's something that needs to be filled, essentially. But when you grow up in that type of environment where there's a lot of neglect, when you're not getting the love you need, you're not getting the affirmation you need, you're not getting the validation you need, or even want. Essentially, you grow up with this thing of rejection, or these voids that you accumulate unconsciously. And it's weird because people like this that were growing up in these environments usually tend to be either people pleasers or attention seekers. And that's really critical to understand. And obviously all of us can identify with these things some way, shape, or form, because all of us have experienced a degree of neglect, or all of us have definitely experienced rejection. Everybody. And essentially you grow up, pleasing people, or desiring to please people at a rate where it costs you, and you seek to make everyone else happy, and to some degree you want their response to be acceptance. If you really search unconsciously what's really going on, you're searching for acceptance. You want them to like you. You want them to love you. And the same thing when it comes to, again, attention seeking. We start to overcompensate for attention. We do too much for attention. You ever look at somebody like, they do too much? Like, that's someone who is attention seeking. They overcompensate in environments, social environments, just to get attention. And everybody can imagine all the different ways you can attention seek. But just to take a little step further, when these type of people actually get pursued with something that's authentic, real, and meaningful as it pertains to love, essentially that first person's response to that real, authentic love is they reject it. They turn it away. Commitment, they turn away. Real, authentic, meaningful love, they turn it away. It's foreign to them. It's like strange to them when someone just loves you for you. It's like kind of scary almost. It's kind of uncomfortable almost. But essentially when you receive love for the first time, or you receive any type of love that's, as crazy as it sounds, healthy, you're like, I don't want that. It's literally like so unknown to you that the first response is you reject it. But essentially, those people are usually gravitate towards more emotionally unavailable people. People who tend to need to be catered to. Essentially, what they're trying to do is win the validation of the person they have to cater to, because that's the only type of love they're used to. I'll say that again. Essentially what someone's doing when they're chasing someone who's emotionally unavailable, win the validation of the person they have to cater to, because that's the only type of love they're used to. But that's essentially what's happening. Like, you have to do that over and over and over and over again. And if you don't do it, essentially, you don't feel like you're getting your desires met. You don't feel like your voids are being filled. And all of this is unconscious, as in you're not thinking about this. This is something that someone needs help. Someone needs to raise the level of awareness of what they're actually doing. That person needs to stop and say, yo, what am I actually doing? Because I'm so used to dysfunctional, because I'm so used to having to try to earn love. I'm not used to just getting love. I'm not used to just receiving love. So I find myself in dysfunctional relationships, toxic friendships. I find myself overcompensating. I find myself people-pleasing. I find myself saying yes when I want to say no. I find myself trying to get everyone's attention and not being okay with the attention I'm already getting. I find myself feeling empty all the time. And essentially, I end up rejecting where the true love is. Because there's people in my life where I am getting that love from, but I reject them anyway. It's a strange situation, but essentially that person's mind needs to be renewed. As in, I had to ask God in my own personal walk, as I was getting closer to him, God, change my mind. Like, heal my heart. Really, really, really do a work in my mind, because my mind's so perverted. How I saw women was so perverted. How I treated people was so perverted. Like, how I went about life was so perverted, as in I saw a distorted view of how life really was supposed to be. And I had to pray and ask God to really renew my mind. But what's so crazy about this whole thing, and where I was really going with this whole thing, was this is what we do to God. Like, your relationship with your parents, your friends, and romantically will always be direct correlation to your relationship with God. Literally, when God gives us real love, our first response is we reject it. It sounds crazy. You would think, yo, I just need God's love. But when God essentially tries to love on us, we reject it. We do that in unbelief. We do that in lack of trust. And we do that with lack of commitment. We do that with lack of submission. And essentially, we always end up running from God when he's the safest place to run to. It's a strange thing, but our mind needs to be renewed. But essentially, that's why people reject God. It's real love. A love that's not toxic. A love that's not dysfunctional. A love that they're just not used to. So it seems like a scam. It seems like, so you mean to tell me God just loves me? For? What did I do? It doesn't seem natural to you because, again, there's hidden part to you that you want to be affirmed and validated, but you only know to chase after love instead of receiving love. And you feel like if you chase after love and actually get it, maybe now you're worth it. Maybe now you're special. Maybe now you're all that in a bag of chips. But the sad part is you never actually have the void filled because it's just a void and you're broken and you're empty. So someone can pour into you and it falls back out. So you have to find another partner. You have to find another friend. You have to find another outlet. It never ends because you keep pouring out what was just poured into you because you're broken and you need to be made whole. But only God can do that. But essentially we reject God because what he's given us is real. What he's given us is pure. What he's given us is not dysfunctional. What he's given us is what we need. And essentially when we don't have our minds renewed, we'll reject his love and we'll go everywhere else to find it. And essentially we'll never find it. It's a horrible journey. But I pray that you guys understand that we need to have our minds renewed to receive the love of God. Period. Before you guys go, it has been brought to my attention that you could subscribe to me and not get notifications when I drop a video. And essentially, I don't have a schedule of when I do videos. So with that being said, I would love for you to not only subscribe, but also click the notification symbol. I heard that when you do that, people get notified, and I would love for you guys to be notified. When I drop these videos, I really feel a personal connection. Like, yo, I want to make sure they know that I dropped something. I want to make sure they know that they are, I'm thinking about y'all, and I'm like, yo, as God put something in my spirit, I want to share it with you guys. So definitely put on your notification bar. I love you guys. Keep letting me know how much these videos bless you, how much they encouraged you. It means a lot. Your words go a long way. God bless you guys. We out.